Evening, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earthwatch on Thursday, August 10, 2023, on our planet. I hope you're all well. So I want to do a very brief introduction video welcoming the many new subscribers that just came on board. Obviously finding out about me through the Hawaii situation. I want to try and keep this down to under a half hour. I'm really going to try. First, just a little bit about myself. I, like everybody else out there in YouTube land, I'm an independent researcher. As with most of us, not all of us, it's my passion because I see what our planet is going through and what lies ahead. I also have my religious beliefs. I do follow scriptures. I do believe in scriptures. I do believe that we're about to go into the beginnings of sorrows and the birth of pain, such as they're beginning to manifest and show us. Anyway, having said that, so as you can tell, I'm not one of these fancy YouTubers with all the fancy graphics and pictures. I don't have technical people helping me. I don't have moderators. I don't have websites. I got nothing. I'm a Canadian citizen in the province of British Columbia. I have a 15-year-old autistic daughter, basically under my 24/7 care. The reason why many nights I only get 4 hours sleep a night, that's it. I try and get some catch-up sleep in the afternoon, but because of everything that's happening. Anyway, let's get on with it. So again, unlike the others, I don't get into fear porn. I don't get into scare tactics. I don't get into exaggerated headlines to garner viewership. Because for a lot of the rest, that's what it's all about. Great exaggerations for a viewership count. Let me tell you a little secret. When somebody says, look at the playlist, people, a YouTuber needs 4,000 watched hours before he gets monetized. Which means he needs you to watch 4,000 hours worth of videos so he can get monetized. Now, when I ask for people to spread the word about me and my platform, it's because I want to spread the truth of what's going on, first and foremost. The word needs to get out from somebody who's objectionable, has some critical thinking, who is sane, who's not some wacko, has some maturity and wisdom to what's going on out there. First and foremost. Having said that, like I said, it's just me. Okay. I'm on a disability income right now. That's it. So once I get to another 150 subscribers coming on board, then I can start monetizing myself. But unlike other people, I don't get salty. I don't call you snowflakes. I don't call some people pussies. And I certainly do not make reference to the bitch slap of a female. As for somebody else on the other side of the pond, I don't constantly beg for money every single video. I proved that person by legal definition, civilly and criminally, fraud. And I'm going to leave it at that. One moment, please. So let's get into it. As with all things in life, everything runs on a cycle. It includes our planets, our Earth, our sun. So I'm just going to start very, very briefly with our sun. So our sun has what's called its 400-year grand solar minimum cycle, which basically means it goes into a period of hibernation. It is minimal solar output every 400 years. The last one, which was called the Maunder minimum, was from 1645 to 1715. So we're now at that 400-year mark. There's also the grand minima every 200 years. That one was called the Dalton minimum from 1790 to 1830. It is important to note that during grand solar minimum periods and grand minima, that's when we have our catastrophic earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. During the Maunder minimum, January 26, year 1700 was the last megathrust Cascadia subduction zone earthquake. April 10, 1815 was the Tambor eruption, Indonesia, which resulted in the following year, 1816, without summer. So much volcanic ash injected into the northern hemisphere, massive crop failure, a lot of deaths. Also during that period in December of 1811 was the New Madrid earthquake. 2 pairs of earthquakes, another 2 in February 1811. Those are some of the catastrophic events during grand solar minimum periods, and we are about to enter into the next one called the Eddy minimum. Anyway, that's not important right now because we have something more dire at hand. Before I go any further, basically the sun's heliosphere, which envelops and protects our entire solar system from galactic cosmic rays, which mostly are the remnants of exploding stars. But during grand solar minimum periods, the heliosphere will shrink, leaving us less protection to the cosmic ray environment bombarding our planet. That's all I'm going to say on the grand solar minimum. Now for the next cycle. And that is the cyclical 12,000-year geomagnetic excursion cycle of our planet. And then the 42,000-year extinction level event. The last extinction level event was 42,000 years ago. That took out the Neanderthals. A geomagnetic excursion is so like I said, no high tech here. I simplify it so you can understand. This is planet Orange. We have 2 poles. I am talking about the geomagnetic pole, which is not the pole in which the planet rotates on. That's the axial pole. This is the geomagnetic pole. So our protective magnetic field, magnetosphere, protects us from deadly cosmic radiation. And that is generated from within the outer core of our planet. It leaves the south magnetic pole, envelops our planet, and re-enters through the north magnetic polar region, the north magnetic cusp. In order to have a more or less stable protective magnetic field, the magnetic poles need to be more or less in antipodal positions to each other, directly opposite. They can be off by a few degrees. However, every 12,000 years, they decide to leave and go on a straight up line excursion. So right now, magnetic north was last in Nunavut, Canada, until 1903. At that time, it took a straight up line course over Santa Claus North Pole and is headed towards Siberia. It actually happened in 1859 during the Carrington event. The Carrington event was a X40, approximately flare that popped off from the sun. and basically said to magnetic north, give it a kick in the butt and get going. So it was somewhere up here in northwest Canada, Carrington event to Nunavut, 1903, that it started its beeline. So right now, magnetic north, somewhere around there. Let's not forget about geomagnetic south. Geomagnetic south was in continental Antarctica. It is no longer. It is now in the ocean between Antarctica and Australia. This is where they are right now. So what happens to our protective magnetic field, our magnetic field lines? They destabilize, they weaken. So right now, neat, orderly, organized. North Pole, South Pole, antipodal. However, as I stated, north is here, south is here, and they become disorganized, destabilizing, weakening our protective magnetic field, thus allowing increased levels of cosmic radiation. This is where we're at. So one or two things is going to happen, and it's irrelevant which. It's going to be a geomagnetic excursion where magnetic north will settle somewhere around Siberia. Magnetic south, it may turn out to be the South Atlantic anomaly. That's a geomagnetic excursion. If it's a full geomagnetic reversal, the meeting point is somewhere in the Bay of Bengal or the Indian Ocean west of Sumatra, Indonesia, if they continue. Folks, this process takes thousands of years to complete. The average is 7,000 years. Some scientists think that it could be 10 times faster, therefore 100 years. Oh, pardon me, 700 years. So it's already been moving for 120 years. Very, very few think it can happen in a human lifetime. We've already passed a human lifetime. It's been on the move for the past 120 years. Before I continue, while I have Planet Orange here, so our magnetic poles are heading towards each other. Okay, please listen. I'm dripping magma all over my desk. The distance on the other side between the two magnetic poles, as that distance increases, such as it is, that weakens the magnetic field on the opposite side. What is on the opposite side, Brian? North America, Central America, South America, where our jet streams appear to be collapsing, where we're having all of our drastic weather events. They're drawing closer together, which increases the distance on the opposite side of the planet. Hope you understood that. That is where we're at right now. It is generally believed that we have lost 25% of our field strength. A different analogy for you Star Trek fans. Shields up, Scotty. When the shield goes up around the Starship Enterprise, that's like a protective magnetosphere. But every time a Klingon photon torpedo hits the Starship Enterprise shields, it weakens and it weakens and it weakens. Every time we have strong geomagnetic storms, coronal mass injection impacts. A coronal mass ejection contains billions of tons of the highly charged particles, mostly protons, some electrons. Every time a hard one hits our planet, it's going to weaken our shields even more. It may even accelerate the excursion process. It is irrelevant if it's going to be an excursion or a reversal. It's what's happening right now and is destabilizing our protective magnetosphere. Let's continue. So that's where we're at right now. We're getting a double punch, folks. Now, generally, what defines a true grand solar minimum? So our sun also has 11-year solar cycle. It starts off with minimal sunspot activity. It reaches a peak in approximately 4 to 5 years, 4.5 years, to a solar maximum. Then it comes back down to a solar minimum. 11-year solar cycle. The definition of going into a grand solar minimum is each consecutive solar cycle with decreasing sunspot activity. So each cycle gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, people say we're not going to reach solar maximum until 2025. I think not. I think we're almost there. If you look at your history in solar cycles, some go as long as 13.5 years, not 11. Very few have been 9 years. That's not important right now. What's important is our geomagnetic excursion. What causes it, Brian? This is now going to get into something which some of you already know and agree with completely. Others, maybe not. Doesn't matter. I have my belief in Scripture. And if you understand Scripture, if you understand the book of Revelation, you understand the tribulation period, you understand about wormwood, you understand that something has to cause the earthquakes in diverse places, etc. What could that be, Brian? "76% of the stars in the galaxy are binary, 2 stars. Another 16% in our galaxy are trinary, 3 stars. That makes the odds pretty good that our sun has a companion, although perhaps it is a failed star, a brown dwarf, that comes within our orbital plane every 3,600 years. Some say it's every 3,657 years. NASA formally announced that in 1983, but then they realized, shit, maybe we shouldn't have said that, man. Cover story, man-made global warming. So you have to understand the gravitational and electromagnetic effects a larger celestial body will have not on just the sun, but our planet, and especially the outer core where our magnetic field is generated from. So you'll see me often using this, Mantle plumes are anchored to the outer core of our planet. The outer core where a magnetic field is generated from, but something is now affecting that. Those changes are going to be manifested through the mantle plumes. The mantle plumes, I do this a lot. The mantle plumes anchor to the outer core of the planet. Rising harder magnetic material coming to the mantle plume head, which it comes to the underside of the lithosphere in which our crust sits upon. That's where we are. Lithosphere. A mantle plume head can spread to thousands of kilometers in diameter. It can have branches, arms, nodes, poking up through the lithosphere. It can also cause what's called lithospheric melting from the rising magma and its heat. As a result, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, rising magma, fires. Lithospheric melting. I am going to suggest to you. Now, that's the reason why they want to get us off of their fossil fuels. There's no such thing as a fossil fuel. It's a natural reserve within our crust. I would suggest to you that the lithospheric melting taking place is depleting our oil and natural gas reserves and our water. And that's why they want to get us off these fuels, because they're being depleted. Anyway, So what can be causing it? This compass is planet Earth. It's all the planets. If you have a larger celestial body coming in, its electromagnetic influence will impact the rest of the planets, such as they have already and are beginning to show on our planet. So as it comes in every 3,600 years, it flips our poles. Electromagnetic influence causes heating in the outer core, rising up through the mantle plumes, as well as geomagnetic storm activity. Remember, we had a 1-2 punch of CME impacts. Then we had that spread of 27 very hot heat indications on the ocean floor of the Malacca Sea, Indonesia. And the following day, the Hawaii fires. And I have given a great many other examples. So what do we look for? What do we expect? Heat indications such as I've described so many times in all my other videos. I can't repeat them here. It will be too long. Almost 22 minutes. They're going to show up in order of progression where the crust is thinnest. First, the oceanic crust. Ocean crusts are an average of 6 kilometers thick. Next, continental shelves. Thickness steps up. Third, coastal regions. Fourth, on land. We're going to have an increased seismic increase, such as they've been trying to hide. Every time 6s pop up, they are deleting them or cutting them down to half. The earthquakes in diverse places have started, but not what he intends for us yet. Do you not have a 4.9 in California now? I know you get lots of earthquakes. You don't have 4.9s. Seattle the other day, wasn't there a 4 point something? I can give you a great many examples. Deep earthquakes where we don't have deep earthquakes ever. The manner in which our earthquakes are happening, it's not the same anymore. You cannot follow the old progression transfer of energy around the plates. It does not happen anymore. Someone's very upset. He called for an earthquake in Vancouver, British Columbia, and 2 other places. He got very upset. It didn't happen. You get all depressed. Next, it used to be deep earthquakes result in shallower, stronger earthquakes. That has not happened, period, in a long time. They no longer happen. That energy is going somewhere else. I had to interject that. So what are some of the possible scenarios? I don't like getting into predictions, but I do think of a few. The axial seamount, the submarine volcano off the coast of Washington, they have sensors all around that underwater volcano because they are expecting an eruption by 2025. What's one possible scenario? A massive submarine volcanic eruption causing a tsunami into Washington, British Columbia, Oregon. What's another one? Remember La Palma, September of 2020 or 2021? All the eruptions. Do you remember the massive spread of fires a few weeks ago in La Palma? Just like Hawaii. Exactly. And it all started in the crater of the volcano. Where's all the reports of, oh, it has to be due. I know it's due. Oh, I've seen the airplanes. Yeah, it's due. My province, British Columbia, has 199 known volcanoes, volcanic complexes, volcanic fields, cones, etc. I've shown you 7 so far that are heating up. What can we expect? If you think what's happening in Hawaii right now is devastating, and of course it is, 53 lost lives so far. If you're not prepared for those visualizations, if you're not psyched up without getting into scare tactics and fear porn, you're not prepared for the cataclysmic events about to unfold. A lot of people aren't. Tambora, I just spoke of, it's heating up a lot with earthquakes now at the base. You know what the sad thing is, folks? A lot of people, including in Indonesia, they don't even know their own history. They don't know about Tambora. They don't know that upon the initial eruption on April 10, 1815, it immediately killed 20,000 Indonesians and another 80,000 in the days, weeks, and months afterwards. They don't know about that. My wife's there right now in Java. I'm trying to explain it to her and her family. They don't even know what and where Tambora is. I had to give them the other name, Sumbawa. They don't know about the history. It's not taught. So this is what I watch out for. The signs of how our planet is responding to its destabilizing and weakening protective magnetic field. I am a believer in the Planet X system. If you believe in the Bible, if you believe in Revelation, if you believe in scriptures, if you believe in the period of tribulations, everything that's happening now is all falling in line with it. Never mind the implementation of the beast system for his arrival at the second 40 in 2 months. But before then, we must go through a period of despair. Great losses, earthquakes in diverse places, the pestilence, the famines, the signs from above in the heavens, the stars, the sun, all of it. We have to go through it all first. Hawaii. I'm sorry, folks, you haven't seen anything yet. As for your government taking so long to respond, when things really pick up, do you really think they're going to be there for you? You got to be there for yourself and for your family. That's what you need to be prepping for. Forget about the bullshit. Flood maps covering the entire world or most of the entire world. He said he wouldn't do that again. But through fire and brimstone, he will. Look up the definition of brimstone. Look up Acts 19. Or is it Acts 2, verse 19? Last sentence. I'm not going to tell you. Look it up yourself. 29 minutes. Many people who follow me know exactly what I'm talking about, but there's a lot of new people who just come on. Welcome. You're going to find out I don't get into scare tactics, fear porn, but I'm just going to bring you the truth, as well as how I see everything aligning into tribulation period. And a lot of it's not just the spiritual preparation. Yes, that's most important. It's practical. It's mental. It's physical. It's trying to strengthen the weakest link of your chain, because you will only be as successful as the weakest link in your family unit. And for many families, it's only one person who's awake, who's trying to prepare. You got to try and psych them up. Because when SHTF happens, you will be on your own. The government knows full well what is going on, and they are preparing. That's why the orchestrated pandemic phase 1. That's why they had all your military exercises and some up here in Canada, the movement of troops. Very odd. Step 2. Mobilization. As Mr. John Moore stated in his article in 2006, it is far easier to implement martial law if the population is already on lockdown. And as he stated in 2006, from a pandemic, by May 2024, Dr. Theodore, whatever that Ethiopian's name is, heading up the World Health Organization, who is only a politician. He will have ultimate control over every single person on this planet after consultation with member states to decide if we should be locked down, mandatory this. And they are preparing for disease X. They already know. Of course they know. Because you must have figured it out by now. You have to. This substance was created first, obviously. Remember? 95% effective at killing people. They needed a reason to jabby. That's why, obviously now, they created the and now they're preparing for disease X. Go to my previous videos. The missing link, the missing piece of the puzzle. It has to do with our weakening magnetic field, the geomagnetic excursion, the state of chaos once people start realizing. Increased ultraviolet radiation, such as we are getting, weakens, suppresses our immune response. You put the rest of it together. So if everything that I said is true, we have a larger celestial body coming in, and its gravitational geomagnetic effects it's going to have on this planet, such as they discovered 40 years ago. That's why they came up with the global warming cover narrative, to explain the Earth changes. That's why they're increasing the rhetoric right now. Global boiling. Listen, do yourself a favor. Hang on. Okay. Oh, Planet X comes in, comes close. Do yourself a favor. Start paying attention to the United Nations Secretary General, and start paying attention to President President Biden. They're telling you the truth. What did that crazy old guy just say? Is he gone totally off his... No, I'm serious. Pay attention to them. They are telling you the truth, what is going to happen to our planet. We have reached a boiling point. They're telling you the half-truth. They can't tell you the other half. They can't tell you. Listen to what they're saying. They're telling you what is going to happen. They are also telling you what they are going to do. Just don't believe the rhetoric. Don't believe the orchestrated destruction. Ukraine. Come on, people. Wake up. We're almost into the second year now. Red lines have been drawn so many times and each side has kept on jumping over. There should have been nuclear holocaust 10 times already. Drone and missile attacks on Moscow. What the hell would you do if they started attacking Washington with drone attacks? Huh? Come on. It's orchestrated distraction. The more intense that distraction becomes, the closer we're going to be coming to a global lockdown. Running into overtime, 36 minutes. Welcome, new subscribers. This is who I am. This is what I do. I do it for you. Every single morning, afternoon, and night. I look for the signs. I tell you how our planet is responding. I show you what nobody else out there is showing you. And some of them paid by the government to distract you, lead you off course, to deny things that are happening. Follow who you want to follow. Follow your gut instinct, your intuition, your religious beliefs. And pay attention to the environment and the signs around you and be prepared for this winter. It is going to be devastating. Get your preps in place for this winter. Get your food, your water, your medical, your oral care, your cooking, your heating. Get it all in place. Sorry it took so long. Probably hear from me again tonight. Take care of yourself.